I wanted to clear something up about this game. About Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. I'm going to give you my review for this game, okay? Because I have seen a lot of conflicting opinions from some diehards in the community about this release. I've seen some people saying, no, it's a lazy cash grab. It's basically just Sigma, like a Sigma remaster, Sigma 2, okay? But that's not entirely true, okay? But it's also not entirely true to say that this is the original version remade, because it's not that either, okay? It's the truth, as usual, is somewhere in the middle here. It lies somewhere in the middle, okay? Now, I went back and looked at some of my footage that you can still do if you want to see for yourself on my channel from the playthrough when I did the original Ninja Gaiden 2 on the Xbox 360. Played through the whole thing. So I went back and I looked at some of the footage. Like, did some side-by-side of a few little areas, right? And I did come to a conclusion, okay? Now, hear me out. It definitely is more, in terms of like the enemy layout and level layout and boss encounters and stuff like that. Like, the main structure of the game is definitely more Sigma. It's based on Sigma, you can tell. Okay? So, to catch you up, right? You had Ninja Gaiden 2, the original, which had a tremendous amount of enemies. It was super aggressive, super challenging, super gory, you know, all of the above. But then when Sigma came out for it, Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma, it was less gory. It was like censored to a degree. They took out a bunch of the enemies, like, so there was just like less enemies. It was just like less aggressive, less hordes of ninjas, and they took out some encounters from the game entirely, and items and boss encounters, I think, too, right? So like, no one was super happy with Sigma because of that. And then this came out, right? And initially, right out the gate, I was like, oh, this is like right back to Ninja Gaiden 2, the original. We've got the gore back. This feels like that. This is amazing, okay? Now, I just want to clarify. After referencing my footage from the OG playthrough, which I urge you to go check out, this is kind of somewhere more in the middle, but it's leaning more towards Sigma, okay? There definitely is not the same amount of enemies that I encountered in my original playthrough of the original game. There's just not. You can literally go watch it and do side-by-sides, and there's just not. But here's the catch. Here's the catch. Do I still think this is the quintessential way to play Ninja Gaiden 2? Yes, I do. Because here's what happened if you get more into the weeds and more into the nuance of this entire enigma, okay? Because here's what happened. When they made Sigma, they took out a bunch of the enemy numbers. You know, they kind of watered it all down. They censored a lot of the gory stuff and all that. And to try to balance it out, they like made the enemies take more damage and stuff like that. So in Sigma, there'd be like less enemies on the whole, but they would like take more damage. Okay? And it just didn't feel as good. It wasn't as crazy. It wasn't as chaotic. But now this game feels like it goes back to, it's not quite in the middle. It might still be more lean towards Sigma, but it seems like there's still more enemies than the original Sigma 2. There's more. It's like they dialed it back a bit, brought it back the right direction a bit, and they still take a little bit more damage than the original as well. So they're still trying to find that sweet spot. And so, while I think a lot of people are immediately dismissing this as like, well, they didn't bring everything back from the original. It's still not the original with the remake. It's like Sigma. It's like a Sigma 2 remake. I just don't think that's entirely the right way to look at this. Okay? This really is a remake of Ninja Gaiden 2 on a new engine, on the Unreal Engine. It looks incredible. It runs incredible. It plays incredible. The visuals are so good, and the gore is back, and the gore and all that is even better than it was before, which really goes a long way in making this feel like the original version. It does, okay? And so I kind of like the balance they've got here. It might not be the absolute insanity that's the original with like so many enemies, right? When the frame rate would just tank and everything on the 360. But they found a better sweet spot than they did in Sigma, okay? In Sigma 2, where there's still more enemies than Sigma 2, but they take less damage, but still more than the original, and I just feel like it feels good. This feels like the best. I like this. I do like this, okay? But let me give you a little bit more of the review before we start, okay? I do think this is, like, if I ever come back and play Ninja Gaiden 2 again, it's this version. There's no way I'm going to dig up the Xbox 360 again and then play that version. I'm just not. And to me, that makes this the quintessential version because the pros much outweigh the cons, okay? But I'm just trying to be real about it because, yes, there is still stuff removed. They apparently still removed that giant, like, underground worm boss, but that boss sucked, bro. So, like, I'm not even upset about that, right? And I think they removed even some items or weapons, like the exploding shuriken and maybe some other stuff. And weren't there, like, trial modes that they kind of removed, like, in the co-op even or something? So there's stuff missing from the base game. That's true. But this is still the best way to play this game. This just feels so right. It feels so good. But not everything. The camera is the one thing that still feels a little bit dated. The camera is the one thing. This is true. I mean, all the other visuals feel like it's completely overhauled. Everything in the game has been kind of touched. It feels good. It feels modern. It's something about the camera still feels like it's old or something. Like I'm like turning it during the fight and it's weird. I get the one button that just like centers it behind you. I don't know. It doesn't even ruin the experience for me. I still love this game. Now, I'm ending this. I'm ending my quick rant, my quick recap, my quick review on this game by saying the bottom line is this, okay? And I played this a little bit on the PC and on the PS5, and it was running good on both. Now, it requires a heavy lift if you're on the PC and you crank everything to the max. It can be kind of demanding, but it does look amazing, okay? And it's running great on the PS5. So, is this game worth it? Here's what it comes down to. If you are a fan of Ninja Gaiden or Ninja Gaiden 2, then it's like a no-brainer that you'd want to try this out. Like it's way better, it looks better, it feels so good, it's just so fucking awesome, okay? Alternatively, if you're a fan of this genre but haven't done these Ninja Gaiden games, then it's obviously a must-play because it's one of the best ones. This is one of the best action hack and slash games like this, easily. And in my opinion, it's the best way to play it. So I do think it's worth it. The only way that I don't think it's worth it is if you've already played the original and you don't care, like you're not into it enough to care to play it again. Like, you know, this is made for the people that are down for it. But then again, you've got this little pocket of these diehard people, which is fair, that just like the original more because of what it was and what it even represents and all this, which is also true. But I'm telling you, this game is worth it, you guys. This game, even to this day, this remake right here is getting like an 8 or a 9 out of 10 for me. Like if you've never played Ninja Gaiden 2 and you play this game, it's like an 8 or a 9 for me. It just is. I'm leaning towards 9 because I just love it that much, okay? So no, it's not a complete representation of the original, but like base game on 360. But it's a better balance of all of these elements and they brought the gore back. It's just better. This is it, guys. Can't wait for Ninja Gaiden 4. Tag team. Platinum Games, Team Ninja. Boom! Okay? And that's it. That's where I'm at. So I don't really have a lot of complaints about it. In fact, I love it so far. I can't wait to play the rest of it. Let's see if it runs any better on the PS5 Pro, because that's what I'm on today for the first time. Let's check it out. This is the best way to play this game. Like, if right now that I've played both, if you were like, in a year, you were like, you want to play Ninja Gaiden 2? Like, which one do you want to play? There's no way I would play the 360 one. There's just no way. I would play this.